Right now, as you're watching this, there's a 73% chance you're feeling something you can't quite name. A hollow sensation. An emptiness that follows you everywhere, from your morning coffee to your late-night scrolling. You've probably tried to fill it. New job, new relationship, new purchase, new hobby. But here's the terrifying truth. It always comes back, doesn't it? What if I told you that this emptiness isn't a bug in your system? It's a feature. And 70 years ago, a brilliant French philosopher named Simone de Beauvoir diagnosed exactly why you feel this way. Her conclusion was so brutal, so uncomfortable, that most people would rather stay empty than face it. But you're still here, which means you're ready for the truth. The question is, are you prepared to discover that everything you've been told about happiness, success, and fulfillment has been a lie? Because once you see what Beauvoir saw, there's no going back to comfortable ignorance. The emptiness you feel? It's not your enemy, it's your wake-up call. Simone de Beauvoir called it mauvaise foi, bad faith. And when you understand what this means, you'll realize why that emptiness feels so familiar, so persistent, so inescapable. Picture this. You wake up, follow your routine, go to work, come home, repeat. But here's Beauvoir's devastating question. Who decided this was your life? When did you consciously choose this path? Or did it just happen to you? Bad faith is when we pretend we have no choice. It's when we say, I have to do this job. I have to be this person. I have to live this way. But Beauvoir saw through this lie. She realized that we're terrifyingly, absolutely free, and that freedom scares us so much that we'd rather feel empty than face it. Think about your last major decision. Did you make it based on what you truly wanted, or based on what others expected? What would be normal? What would be safe? Here's the brutal truth. Most of us aren't living our lives. We're performing them. We're actors in a play we never auditioned for, reading lines we never wrote, playing characters we never chose to be. And that performance? That's what's killing you inside. Because deep down, your authentic self knows it's being suffocated. It's screaming to be heard, to be seen, to be lived. But instead of listening, we turn up the volume on the performance. Beauvoir discovered that the emptiness isn't a problem to be solved. It's a symptom of a life unlived, of choices unmade, of a self unexpressed. But here's what's even more terrifying. Recognizing this is just the beginning. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. How many versions of yourself do you have? The work version, the family version, the social media version, the when I'm alone version? Which one is real? Or are they all just masks? Beauvoir understood that society is a master puppeteer, and we're all dancing to strings we can't even see. From the moment you wake up, you're putting on costumes. The successful professional costume for work, the perfect partner costume for relationships, the happy person costume for Instagram. But here's what's killing you. These aren't just roles you play. They're prisons you've built around your authentic self. Think about your job. How much of your personality do you suppress to fit in? How many of your real thoughts do you swallow during meetings? How often do you smile when you want to scream? That's suppression. That's not professionalism. That's slow suicide of the soul. And relationships? How often do you say, I'm fine, when you're falling apart? How many times do you agree when you want to disagree? How frequently do you laugh at jokes that aren't funny, just to belong? Beauvoir called this the look of the other. We become obsessed with how others see us. And slowly, we start seeing ourselves through their eyes instead of our own. We become strangers to ourselves. If you're recognizing yourself in this brutal mirror, hit that like button, because acknowledging the problem is the first step to freedom. And subscribe, because we're about to go deeper into this rabbit hole than most people dare to go. The emptiness you feel? It's your authentic self suffocating under all these masks. It's your soul begging for oxygen in a world that demands performance over presence. But the masks aren't the real enemy. The real enemy is what comes next. Here's the most dangerous lie you've ever been told. You just need to find the right thing to make you happy. The right job, the right person, the right house, the right body, the right amount of money. Sound familiar? Beauvoir saw through this trap decades before anyone else. She realized that when we feel empty inside, our first instinct is to fill that void with something external. But here's the brutal truth. You could have everything on your wish list tomorrow, and that emptiness would still be there, staring back at you. Why? Because you're trying to solve an internal problem with external solutions. It's like trying to cure thirst by painting a glass of water. Think about the last time you bought something you really wanted. Remember that moment of excitement? That brief high? How long did it last? A day, a week? And then what happened? The emptiness crept back in, didn't it? So you started looking for the next thing, the next fix, the next temporary bandage for a permanent wound. This is what Beauvoir called the consumer trap of existence. We become addicts to external validation, external possessions, external achievements. We chase promotions, likes, compliments, purchases, anything to avoid sitting alone with ourselves and facing the terrifying question, who am I when I strip away everything I own, everything I've achieved, everything others think of me? But here's what's even more insidious. Society profits from your emptiness. Every advertisement, every social media post, every success story is designed to make you feel incomplete so you'll buy something to feel whole again. You're not a customer. You're a victim of a system that needs you to stay empty to keep consuming. The dating apps promise you'll find the one. The career coaches promise the perfect job. The influencers promise the perfect lifestyle. But nobody talks about the one thing that actually matters: learning to be comfortable with yourself. Because if you were truly comfortable with yourself, you wouldn't need to buy anything to feel complete. And that would be very bad for business. This is where most people turn away. This is where the comfortable lies become more appealing than the uncomfortable truth. But you're still here, which means you're ready for Beauvoir's most radical insight. The emptiness isn't your enemy. It's your liberation. What if I told you that feeling empty is actually a sign of intelligence? A sign that your soul refuses to be fooled by society's shallow offerings? What if that void inside you isn't a bug? It's a feature of consciousness itself. Beauvoir discovered something revolutionary. Emptiness is freedom in disguise. When you feel empty, it means you've outgrown the false meanings that society tried to impose on you. You've evolved beyond the need for external validation. Your consciousness is saying, I'm ready for something real. But here's the terrifying part. Real meaning can't be given to you. It can't be bought, earned, or inherited. It has to be created. By you. From nothing. And that responsibility is so overwhelming that most people would rather stay empty than face it. Think about it. If your life has no predetermined meaning, if there's no cosmic purpose handed down from above, then you get to decide what matters. You get to choose what's worth living for. You get to create your own values, your own goals, your own definition of success. That's not emptiness. That's absolute freedom. And absolute freedom is the most terrifying gift you'll ever receive. Beauvoir called this the anguish of freedom. The moment you realize you're completely responsible for your own life, completely free to choose who you become, completely alone in creating your own meaning, that's when the real work begins. If you've made it this far in the video, you're already demonstrating something most people lack: the courage to face uncomfortable truths. Hit that subscribe button because you're part of a rare group of people willing to question everything. The emptiness you've been running from, it's been waiting patiently to teach you the most important lesson of your life. You are free. Terrifyingly, beautifully, completely free. Here we are, the moment of truth. You've seen through the lies, recognized the masks, understood the trap, and faced the terrifying reality of your own freedom. Now what? Beauvoir's final revelation was this: the emptiness doesn't go away, it transforms. It stops being a void that needs filling and becomes a canvas waiting for your creation. It stops being your enemy and becomes your greatest ally. So how do you make this transformation? First, you stop running. You sit with the emptiness. You welcome it like an old friend who's been trying to tell you something important. You listen to what it's really saying. You're ready for something authentic. Second, you start making choices based on your values, not society's expectations. Ask yourself, if I knew I couldn't fail and no one would judge me, what would I do with my life? That answer, that's your authentic self speaking. That's who you really are beneath all the masks. Third, you accept the terrifying responsibility of creating your own meaning. You stop waiting for life to happen to you and start making life happen through you. You become the author of your own story instead of a character in someone else's script. But here's the beautiful paradox Beauvoir discovered. When you stop trying to fill the emptiness, when you start creating from it instead, you don't become empty. You become infinite. You realize that the void inside you isn't a lack of something. It's the presence of pure potential. If you've stayed with me until this moment, you've already taken the first step toward transformation. You've chosen truth over comfort, growth over stagnation, authenticity over performance. That takes incredible courage. Write the word freedom in the comments if you're ready to stop running from your emptiness and start creating from it. Let me know you're part of this community of people brave enough to live authentically. Your presence here, your willingness to face these uncomfortable truths, that's already proof that you're different from the masses who prefer comfortable lies. The emptiness you feel isn't a problem to be solved. It's a doorway to be walked through. On the other side isn't happiness, success, or fulfillment as society defines them. On the other side is something far more valuable, the real you, finally free to exist without apology. Your authentic life is waiting. The question is, are you brave enough to claim it?